Hello and welcome to Talk a Good Game. It's been a while. It's back. The previews are back. The reviews will be back. West Ham are back, and that's where the positivity ends, I'm afraid. Or does it? That's what we're here to talk about. But before we get on to West Ham, we're going to start with our opposition, as always, Wolves. Gonzo, what's your thoughts on them?
Well, welcome back, my friend. Welcome back. We've not been anywhere. But it feels like welcome back. Welcome back to normality. And welcome back to everybody watching. Okay, Wolverhampton Wanderers. I think they are the model that really our club should have been based on, I think. I love the way they have a sense of organic growth. They've managed to, not only get promoted, but get up into the top league and thrive. Obviously got into Europe, which was a miraculous achievement, and they did so on such a small, thin squad with the use of so few players. Everybody, myself included, well, not everybody, but lots of people thought they're going to struggle when they get into Europe here, just because for the reason that I just said. They didn't get into and struggle. They thrived there as well. Got out of their group. And I think, look, there's going to be a lot of teams with a lot of things to complain about post-coronavirus and so on and so forth. But I think Wolves having their dream journey, cut short in that sense, it's going to be harsh on them. But I think they did really well. I like the manager. Everybody likes the manager, don't they? I like the way they've got young players coming through as well as established ones. They seem to have is George Mendes possibly as the super agent they use? Maybe he's got some stake in the club or something. I'm not entirely sure. But the way he brings players through and the way they mix the experience of someone like Moutinho with partnering with Neves, who's inexperienced. I like everything they do.
Yeah, I think they're a wonderful club. I actually think they could be one club that benefits from the crisis at the minute with the transfer market because of Mendes, because they're super agent. Last summer, I actually thought Wolves were maybe a bit tight, to be honest with you. I expect them to spend a bit more money to bring in bigger, better players. But this summer, actually, being a little bit more clever in the transfer market is, well, whichever club does that is really going to benefit. And that's something that Wolves know they're going to do, regardless of what's going on in the world. So I think that'll help them. Their dream's not over, though, Gonzo. The Europa League's still going ahead. It's just going ahead. Yeah, it's going ahead in August now. They're still going to try and complete the Europa League. I think they're trying to host the rest of the Europa League in Germany, I believe, and I think it's going to be like a one leg thing to speed it up a little bit. But yeah, they're trying to get Europa League complete. This is why I think if it wasn't going ahead, Wolves have still got an outside chance for European football and the Champions League, which we'll get onto in a second. But say they, halfway into the 9 games that was not going to happen, you'd almost expect them to down tools a little bit. But with the Europa League at the end of the season, they've got to keep momentum up. They've got to keep on going so that when they do hit the Europa League bit, they're fighting fit, they're on form, they're banging in goals, and perhaps other teams might not be that well prepared. I think this Premier League campaign, if you like, this 9 games, is perfect preparation for Wolves to get ready to go on. To be honest with you, win the Europa League. That has to be their aim. I thought they had a good result in Greece before all this against Olympiacos. I don't think it was a great performance. It was a really good result. And I wouldn't be surprised if Wolves were to be a serious contender for the Europa League, actually. Do you know something? Good luck to them. I genuinely hope I see them do it. Sometimes I'm a bit funny with English clubs playing European football. If you like, I'm not sure whether I want them to do well or not. But with Wolves, I generally actually do. So go on. Fair play to you. And I quite like their fans as well. But speaking of European football, they're 5 points off 4th, 9 games to go. Can they do it? But before you answer, their first 3 games here, us, Bournemouth, Villa. That's a perfect start. If you ask teams who would you like as your first 3 games, I would not be surprised if us 3 were in there.
I think it's going to be tough. I really do. And you're right, they're games, they're winnable games for them. I feel that it was cruel on them, the timing of the stopping of football, because there are other teams that have been able to get their players back. None more so. Well, Tottenham, yes, with some Harry Kane's a pretty big player, right? But more so Manchester United. Marcus Rashford is an exceptional player, and Paul Pogba, regardless of what many think of him from time to time, is an outstanding footballer. On his day, can pass the ball like nobody else. these are players that have come back, have probably got a point to prove, and mixed with Bruno Fernandes, of course. I just wonder if they don't have the momentum to get over the line now. I think Man United were perhaps in 5th anyway. So I think that you can juggle it around. That may well be the composition of your top 5. Do I think Wolves can overhaul Sheffield United, who obviously would be benefiting from the recent point that they got? Yes. But I do think is it top 5 for Europe?
It depends on Manchester City. It's top 4 for Champions League, but Man City are banned, so technically 5th at the minute would be getting Champions League, and then it's 5th and 6th for Europa League, possibly 7th, depends on the FA Cup outcome. But there's an outside chance that there's going to be an extra Champions League spot with City still, as we speak, banned, although they are appealing it.
Well, good knowledge again. Okay, 6th. Yeah, they can definitely get 6th. Yeah, certainly. I think 5th might be a push, but 6th,
I think it'll be tough for them, because I actually think Wolves' main strength, funnily enough, has been their small squad. That has been their small squad. Not too many changes, the same 11, week in, week out. I think last season, they used 16 outfield players or something mental like that. It's a really small number. That's helped them. But actually now, between now and the end of the season, I think that's going to be their biggest weakness, because they have a small squad. So their biggest strength has been turned into their biggest weakness, literally, from one game to the next in terms of penalty. I would say overnight, but it's 3 months, isn't it? But you know what I mean, metaphorically speaking, overnight, their biggest strengths come to their weakness. So I don't think they're going to get it. But I've looked at their fixtures, and I think they play Everton, Sheffield United, Burnley. They don't really play anyone up there. Their last game of the season, though, was against Chelsea, and that could be winner takes all almost. What an achievement it would be. Just to even be in the running at this point of the season for Wolves is fantastic. They don't have the FA Cup. They're out the FA Cup. And then they've got the Europa League at the end of it. So, yeah, all good all around. But last question, Wolves. As always, the players, which ones do you admire?
Well, I'm not jumping on the bandwagon here, because you will testify. I wanted us to sign him from Villa, then I wanted us to sign him from Middlesbrough. So I'm not a Johnny come lately who said, "Oh, isn't that Adama Traore good?" I think he's a magnificent player, and I don't know why more fuss isn't made of him. I don't know why I'm not seeing him linked in the paper with. Well, obviously he came from Barcelona, maybe not Barcelona, but you know what I mean. The big
his decision making. I'm one of these people. I'm not his biggest fan. I'm just not. I didn't want him when he was at Borough or Villa, because I thought his final ball was poor. I thought his decision making was poor, and I think he's improved the final ball, but I still think his decision making is somewhat lacking to be at a top club. I did a little thing for the patrons earlier, and I said the reason I think Kevin De Bruyne is best in the league, not only has he got the ability, he does the right things. He does the crossing, the through ball, the simple pass to adversary. He makes the right calls at the right time. I just feel like Traore sometimes is his biggest obstacle, and I see him take on 2 players, and the cross is there, the pass is there, he'll go for the third man, he'll go for the 30-yarder, and I just think, stop that, just stop it. If you can get that out of his game, I think you've almost got a potential world-class player there. But his decision making for me is a big massive weight around him, which is a shame, because he's got so much rawness about him that is good. But I'm not his biggest fan. There's at least 3-4 other players in that Wolves team I prefer.
Well, maybe I'll mention 1 or 2 of them now. I don't... Look, I mean, Jimenez is good. I know you rate him highly. I think Jota was really coming into some good form, as it seemed that way towards before everything got shut down. I don't think... I might have it wrong. Maybe he started quite slowly, but then he sort of got into it more. I really liked... I think we've seen a little bit less of him. But when he broke through, Kieran Gibbs-White, is that his name? He looked really good.
He's been a bit naughty. I think he was a bit naughty during the lockdown. I think he was...
He didn't go around Carl Walker's house.
Well, I think he had a similar equivalent. I don't know if it was quite. I don't know if it was quite as drastic. I believe he was out having a little party, and this was at the start of it all. Do you know, when it was the same time as Jack Grealish was having a ride in his Jeep. I think this boy was doing something as well. So I think he's one of these bad boys that needs to be disciplined.
Okay, well, fine. Well, he's still a good player, but he's had his bottom smacked at the moment. That's absolutely fine. I liked, obviously, the 2 midfielders I mentioned earlier who are classed. I like the mature combination of the 2 of them, one young, one older, but both very, very comfortable on the ball. I liked Bolly when I saw him at centre-back. Not sure how much he's featured this season, but when I saw him, he's good. And the wing-back with the Irish name... good one. Him. He's a good player. They got lots of good players, Geo.
Yeah, the first 11 I think is really good. I think their bench is lacking a little bit, one or two good players, but I think their first 11 is really strong. Moutinho is my favourite Wolves player. I just think he's unbelievable. I think Neves gets too much hype, to be honest with you. Whenever I watched him, it's all Neves this, Neves that. But I keep saying, I think Neves is a match of the day player because he will hit a 30-yard shot that stings the palms of the keeper, gets onto match of the day. But Moutinho is the one that pulls the strings, takes all the set pieces, gets back, gets forward. I just think he's class. He really is one of the best midfielders I've seen in a long time in the Premier League, not at a Sky Sports top 6 club. I think he's just wonderful to watch. It's going to be a shame. Mastering the apprentice in the midfield there. Jota is one of my favourite Wolves players as well. He's just hard working. I would hate to play against him. You're a centre back, you get the ball, he's there, just nipping away at you. But you're right, he was slow at the start of the season, but he's coming to form a little bit. But he's got a difficult role because he keeps getting moved about by Nuno. One game he's up front alongside Jimenez, up front. Then next thing it's slightly to the right because we're bringing in Charoe and Dendonker's not playing anymore. So it's a tough gig. And Vinagre is actually, I really like him. Doesn't play much because Johnny is the left wing back, but I actually think Vinagre's got it all to go on and become one of the best left wing backs in the Premier League. Hard role to play. Anyway, enough bigging up Wolves. Well,
we've been very nice.
Yeah, we've been nice. Anyway, time to big up our own team, maybe.
Yeah. Not so nice. Yeah, okay.
Right, let's talk about West Ham. Formation, 4 at the back or 3 at the back. That's the first call you've got to make. This is what we want to see. This is not what we think Moyes will do. This is what me and Gonzo want to see. So Gonzo, 4 at the back for you?
Yes, please. I'll take a 4.
What would your 4 at the back look like in terms of personnel?
Okay, so I'll go with Ryan Fredericks at right back. I'm assuming Ogbonna's not fit. Okay, I'm assuming he's not. Otherwise, he would be alongside Diop. So we'll go with Balbuena and Diop, and we'll go with Aaron Cresswell on the left.
I'm going to go with the same back 4 as you, actually. I did deliberate with Angaki. I have to be honest with you. I did think when the season finished, he was my first choice right back. Therefore, I think it's only fair he continues as first choice right back. But given the uncertainty or the expectation that he is going to leave, I find it hard to put him in. I find because you now need 11 players on that pitch that's going to scrap for survival, and it's not in Ngaki's interest at the minute for West Ham to stay up or go down. It makes no difference to him. But part of me likes to think if he's got an ounce of loyalty about him, he would give 100%. Even if he is leaving, that's fine. You can still leave 100% on the pitch against Wolves and against Spurs before you depart. But I've gone with Fredericks as well. But I have to say I've gone with Fredericks with a bit of nerves, if that makes sense. I'm not putting him thinking, yeah, that's fine. I put him in thinking, oh. And same with Cresswell, actually. The fullbacks are a bit of a worry, but we'll get on to that. How would you like to see line up in midfield and attack then? Because I think the 4 at the back's an easy decision. I think this is the end where you win or lose the game. In midfield and attack, what are you going to do here?
I'd put a 2 in front of that back 4. Not always just sitting there, one going, one staying, of Souček and Declan Rice.
And ahead of them, I've gone with 3 in there, but I'll come on to that.
Okay, yeah, well, I'd play Fornals as the number 10 in that, really. And then I'll give you the whole team if you want. I'll have a Bowen on the right, and I would put Felipe Anderson on the left. And I would probably go with Antonio up front.
Antonio striker, no Sebastian Haller, who scored both friendlies.
Absolutely, who's scored 2 friendly. No, I'm pleased he scored. I think we're going to need a lot of it. I think we need a little bit of urgency. From what I saw from the games that have already been played, I think intensity is quite key. I'd like to see some intensity. I think you just get more intensity from Antonio.
Yeah, well, I would go 3 in the middle. I'm using the same 3 as you with Rice, Souček and Fornals because I'm almost keeping Mark Noble for Spurs, to be honest with you. I do think Moyes will play Noble, but I would keep him fresh for the Spurs game on the Tuesday. Maybe try and take him on with 20 minutes to go so he's got some sort of match practice. And he missed the Palace game as well, which is a bit of a concern. So I want people that are 100% fit for this. So I've gone with a 3 in there because if Wolves have got a weakness, and there's not many weaknesses in that team, the one of them I do think they have got is the fact that I do expect them to play like a 3-4-3. So that means they've only got 2 in the middle. And if we get an extra body in there, that's where we can win the match. We can outnumber Neves and Moutinho. Bearing in mind it's first game back where fitness could be questionable. I I think Wolves is the worst team to come up against because I do expect them to be extremely prepared, extremely fit. I've got no sort of hope that we can. But if there is any lacking in fitness, it's going to be in the middle of the park. Let's outnumber them in there. We saw in the Sheffield United Villa game, players having cramp with 10 minutes to go or something. So that's going to happen in this one. Let's make sure it's Moutinho and Neves because we've ran them ragged in there. In my front three is Bowen, Antonio and Allaire. I've left out Anderson. To be fair, I'll be honest with you, it was a 50-50 between Antonio and Anderson. I didn't know which one to put in. I went for Antonio just because if you said to me, one of them scored, who do you think it is? I would have said Antonio. So therefore I thought, well, I'll put him in then because that's what we need. Goals. I think it's a big call dropping Allaire. Or I say dropping him, not using him from the start in this one. Mm-hmm. I think we need to get him scoring and scoring from the word go. I think Jared Bowen's going to be massive between now and the end of the season. Would you not put him up front then if you're not going to use Allaire? Because if I had to use your front three, I'd put Bowen as a striker probably.
I like we've seen very little of him. Very, very little. The one thing I have seen, I've seen two things. He's incredibly hard-working. So he's getting back and helping. He's right back out. You're going to need that against Wolves, by the way, because they're going to cause us trouble from wide positions. And I'm not saying Antonio can't do that. Of course, we know he can. What I've really liked is his timing of runs. He's almost like Frank Lampard would time his runs to get into the box for a certain time. Bowen seems to do that from wide. Granted, we've seen very little time to make that judgment. I think if he's already there, you take that away from him, and we don't know how good he is. Also, I don't think you're not looking at someone with blistering pace. I'm not saying he's slow. Okay, he'll be, but he's not got blistering pace. So I think when you don't have that outright sprinters 100-meter runner speed, then actually timing is everything. If that's what he's comfortable doing, he can almost ghost in. They call it ghosting in from the wide. I'd like that position. I like the way he plays it.
Yeah, I like Bowen on the right as well because I think Saiss is their left centre back probably, unless they put Dendoncker there. I think he's their weak point. I think he's a yellow card waiting to happen pretty much every game. He dives in and stuff, and I'd fancy Bowen going toe to toe with him. So come on then, let's go. And you might get 2 tackles on me, that's fine, but I'll beat you twice and you're going to go in the book and I'm going to keep on coming at you and keep on coming at you. And this is where I hope Moyes utilises the substitutions well, because if Bowen does start to tire and we've got him on their defender on ropes, I'd almost like to see Anderson come on and say just drive at him, just keep running at him. I think you almost have to target someone in that Wolves back three and just give him a hell of a game, and I think that's who you do it, because I think Bull is a big boy, stay away from him. Cody is fantastic, but I think that's where their weakness. What's your thoughts on this game then? You feeling confident? Any worries?
Both, I think, which is strange because we find ourselves in a strange position, really, don't we? As the old saying goes, in the land of the blinds, the one-eyed man is king. And I think looking at what I've seen, I think if you can be fitter than everybody else, I know what you just said about Wolves, I think you've got a hell of an advantage. I was quite buoyed by what Terry Wesley said in his interview with Sean O'Hugh. He said I've worked with Irvine and I've worked with Moyes, and they are always really well prepared. I think he's been very impressed with how well prepared they have always been. And he said if they are not the best prepared in the league, something like that, I will be amazed. And that sort of fits in with the noises that I've heard from Moyes, I've heard from the training ground. And also, if you remember when he initially got the job, he came in and said everybody's so unfit. He put them on big training regimes and had them doing double shifts at the training ground and stuff like that. In many respects, I mean, you mentioned the substitutions. I have more grounds for worrying about substitutions with Moyes, or the shape. Do we want a 4? Look, I want a 4, you want a 4. I'm worried we're going to get a 3. That's a concern. The one thing I'm not worried about is how fit we'll be. And I do think that's key, because I thought all the teams looked a bit blowy. You mentioned the people getting cramp and stuff like that. That gives me some sort of confidence. And if we can go in there with high levels of energy, I think we have a chance, because I just don't think everyone's playing from a level playing field. Look, when everyone's playing from a level playing field, if we're 100% fit, Wolves are 100% fit, I think Wolves have got a better team than us. I do. Clearly, the league standing would suggest that, as would European football. But the fitness gives me cause for hope.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I remember when Moyes came the first time, he said, you don't run, you don't play, kind of thing. And it was aimed at Marko Arnautovic, but it was a general warning to the rest of the team as well. So I get that point completely. Wolves is the worst team, one of the worst teams in the league to come up against in match day 1 as far as I'm concerned. I think I expect them to be fully prepared. I was trying to keep an eye out for what certain clubs were saying in regards to going back to training. Watford are one extreme example, and you got the vibe that they didn't want to go back at all. Whereas I thought Wolves were towards not as extreme as Sheffield United or Crystal Palace, who were chomping at the bit to get going. But Conor Cody was very much, it is what it is. Let's get back and let's get going again. I've got you're confident West Ham will be ready, and I agree with you. I am quite confident that Wolves will also be ready. I think this will be quite a good game, actually. I don't think it'll be a test as fitness as such, and that's what concerns me, because if it was, I think we'd win. But I don't think it will be, which makes me think, well, if it comes down to quality on the pitch, that's where I'm going to worry, because I think Wolves have got a fantastic 11. They're probably one of the most organised sides in the league. They're definitely punching above their counterparts, if you like. And it's because they play a very unique formation. Well, they've got two formations, a 3-4-3 and sort of the 3-5-2, and they play it really well. Everybody knows their positions inside out, and that adaptability works. The one thing that I will want to see from, I'm going to say Moyes, it's never going to happen, but I expected to see this in German football, and I've never understood, with 5 subs now, why managers aren't changing it in the first half. I've watched teams, in the first 20 minutes, it's clearly not working, right? They're struggling, they're getting pounded, so you're thinking, you've got 5 subs. Why would you not be a bit more on the ball? Use one of your subs if you have to and change up, do something drastic. Especially now you've got this stupid water break thing, which is ridiculous. Use a sub in the first half. If this going tits up against Wolves early on and something's not working, you have to just use this extra subs and change it. It's not nice taking someone off after half an hour. Of course it's not. But I'll tell you something, I'd rather piss off a player than risk losing the game, because you don't want to go in at half time and think, we'll change at half time. It might be too late then. You've used this extra substitutions. Now, with all that said and done, can I get your final words? Followed by your first score prediction of the 9-game playoff league.
the mini season league, of course. Okay. The substitutions is an interesting one because we've got more subs and an extended bench. I think it may not be like this and we may get injuries, but as it stands for the first game, we could have on the bench Ogbonna, Ngakia, Masuaku, Yarmolenko, Jack Wilshere, Mark Noble, Lanzini, and Sebastian Haller if you run over my team. That's a handsome bench. And I don't mean they're good looking fellas. I mean it is just, there's a lot of talent on that bench. And if you use that, that's a hell of a weapon, Geo. A hell of a weapon. And that gives me cause for confidence as well. I think we can avoid defeat here. So I can't discount all the stuff we said about Wolves at the start, who are a fantastic team. But I do think we have fitness going for us. And I think we've got a hell of a bench where we can change it up in any position. Any position we can change the pattern of that game. So I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw, which I know is a bit fence city. But that's what I'm going for.
You don't have much to go on, to be fair. You don't have much to go on for this one. I mean, the second game will become a bit easier after the first one. The bench actually worries me a bit, because I do think we're actually going to have one of the stronger benches in the league, to be honest with you, especially outside the top 6. Even if you look at Leicester and Wolves, I think our bench is going to be better than those teams. My concern is the manager. My concern is the manager using that bench adequately in order to win us the game or get us from a loss to a draw or a draw to a win or whatever. I don't have faith in him. And it's a funny one, because when you do these kind of previews, it's largely based on what the manager's done the week before. Now, we don't have that as evidence to go by tonight. So I'm going to have to go by what he's done since he's come back. In the first half of that reign, it was crap. It was really, really terrible. But the last 4 games, I was really happy, although we lost 3 of them. So, you've got to take that into account. So I'm going to sit on the fence for this one as well as Gonzo, and I'm also going to go for 1-1. Now I do a charity bet with Betway, don't I? So I can say I can prove my score draw prediction prior to this, but I'm going to go for 1-1. Now, the reason we don't talk about what Moyes is going to do because we do that anyway on the build-up show an hour before kickoff. So it's a 5:30 kickoff, so at 4:30 on Saturday. Come back to the channel. We'll be live, having a little look at what the teams have done prior. Brighton and Watford play before West Ham, so we'll be having a look at what they've done on Saturday because it impacts us. We'll be having a little look at David Moyes' starting 11. We'll have a look at Wolves' starting 11 and give you our final thoughts, and hopefully we'll be discussing 5 at the back, or 3 at the back, how you want to look at it. Anyway, Gonzo, I shall see you on Saturday.
Exciting!
It is actually.
I'll see you then.
Are you looking forward to the football? West Ham back?
I really am. West Ham is different to the other nonsense that I watched last night. West Ham is. We know every detail about West Ham. We're interested in every twist and turn of every player. And
except Wilshire's, because that means injury.
Yeah, it certainly does. And I'm looking forward to doing this as well. I bounced down the garden. I was on a pogo stick. To come in and do this in my shed today, and I'm really looking forward to. Been looking forward to this preview all day. I can feel the excitement building. I'm looking forward to us doing the build-up videos, sitting down, watching the thing, and I really am. I'm really looking forward to the whole lot.
I'm looking forward to creating content as well. Back to normality on the channel. At least the football might not be normal, but it's back to the normality on the channel. It'll be interesting to see what crowd noise they've got for the London Stadium. See, they've got a bit of GSB out chance for the Sky Sports viewers. But if you don't have Sky Sports and you can't watch it, then you can come back here just before kick-off. Charlie and Tom will be live doing a watch-along. They'll be telling you what's going on, giving their opinions and stuff. Got loads of content on match day, so make sure you keep your eye on this channel. And the best way to do that is by subscribing if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button, drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and myself and Gonzo will see you on Saturday afternoon. Cheers for joining us.